Voiceover off.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawm al-Din. Wa nusalli wa nusallam ala Rasulihi al-Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Thumma ma ba'd. Somebody still have their phone not muted. Can they mute their phones? Jazakumullah khairan. Somebody still not muted. I'm hearing the whole conversation. Barakallahu fikum. Today, inshaAllah tabarak wa ta'ala, we are going to continue fast forward by the help, permission, and the blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal, the mighty, the one who is sublime above all things, with the great essay, small but great, by Shaykh Al-Allama Samahat Shaykh Abdul Aziz Ibn Baz Rahimahullah, the great Grand Mufti and the esteemed scholar Abdul Aziz Ibn Abdullah Ibn Baz Rahimahullah, who died in 1999. And he was the Mufti, the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia. Somebody still has not muted their phone at this point. It's very, very, very disturbing. Wallahi, I wouldn't even keep repeating it if it was tolerable. It's in the ear of the one who's listening and speaking. I hear every single thing. If they can please mute their phones, may Allah bless you, give you good health, give you good strength, give you reward, give you faculties of hearing and seeing. May Allah purify your hearts. May Allah enter you into the paradise. Please mute your phones. Everyone check, see if your phone says mute. If you have a mute button, you should be able to press that mute button and no one can hear you. You will be able to hear, but no one can hear you. And everyone should come in muted. I don't know what's happening. This is how the system is set up. But every dars, without fail, someone is not muted. Barakallahu fikum. Now, so Shaykh bin Baz, he has this book. It's called Durus al-Muhimma. Durus al-Muhimma. Durus in the Arabic language is plural for dars. Dars, you would spell that in English, D-A-R-S, dars, means lesson, a single lesson. Durus, which a person would spell in the English D-A-R, I would spell it D-A-R-O-O-S, durus. This means lessons, meaning more than one subject matter. So here, and we say more than one subject matter because the scholars of the Arabic language, meaning they specialize in Arabic, they say that the plural is more than two. Is more than two in the Arabic language. Plurality for the scholars of the Arabic language is more than two. But for the scholars of Hadith science, they say plurality is more than Barakallahu fikum, one. More than one for the scholars of Hadith. Therefore, I said more than one. And it also could be more than two. Somebody still, Allah Musta'an is unmuted. I don't know why, like what's happening. It's very disturbing. I don't know. The cooperation in this has been poor. Although the other things are great. Someone at this point is still unmuted. Can they please mute their phones? I hear babies in the background and skillets being moved or whatever. It's very disturbing. And it's embarrassing at this point. I have to keep saying it. وَتَعَوْنَا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَوْنَا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Work together upon goodness and righteousness, Allah, He says, and not work together upon what's wrong and transgression, transgressing the bounds. So someone needs to please mute their phone. For the last time, please. Tayyib. So the Shaykh's book is Durus al-Muhimma. durus al-muhimma. Al-muhimma means the important things. So durus al-muhimma means the important lessons. The important lessons. This is the meaning of durus al-muhimma. And so far from this work, we've taken Al-Fatiha, which is the first surah of the Quran, Al-Fatiha. And the Shaykh, he said to memorize that along with a very small, brief explanation. So we took that. We took Al-Fatiha, we did the explanation, we recited it. It's on the YouTube channel. And we took the explanation of Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. We took it from beginning to end. From the beginning, the Basmillah, to غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. We took Al-Fatiha. Then the next thing, the Shaykh, he said, Barakallahu fikum, along with some short surahs of the Quran. Along with some short surahs of the Quran, which is from his recommendation, Zilzala 99. Surah 99, I believe, it is Zilzala. And it is called in English earthquake, the final earthquake, which is when the day of judgment will happen. Everything will be shaken, everything will be rattled, the whole earth, the sky will change, it will bust asunder, the sun will be different, everything will be anew, but there will be turmoil. One of the turmoils that the earth will be shaken, to where everything will come out of the grounds, even those that are in the graves, they will come out of the ground. And they will be alive by the command and the permission and power of Allah, and they will stand for judgment. So this is Surah Zilzala, the earthquake, the final earthquake. We went from that surah to the last surah, Surah Nas, where Allah said, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Say, O Muhammad, I seek refuge in the Lord of Nas, meaning all of mankind, meaning human beings and jinns. So we finished that. So now, Dars al-Thani, the second lesson in the Shaykh book, it is Arkan al-Khamsa fil Islam. Arkan al-Khamsa fil Islami wa shurutuha wa muqtada iha wa bayanha. And that is Arkan al-Khamsa, the 5 pillars. Arkan means pillars. Khamsa is the word for number 5. So Arkan al-Khamsa, the 5 pillars of Islam. Meaning without these you have no Islam. And the Shaykh, he said, وَالْمَعَانِهَا, and the different meanings that go with the 5 pillars. Actually, no, it said, Barakallahu fikum, before that, the second lesson is Shahadatain. Shahadatain. The meaning of the Shahada to Allah and His Messenger. I skipped. I went to the 5 pillars before that. The second lesson is Shahadatain. Muqtada, and what is meant by the Shahadatain. What is to be gained out of it. You have a statement, and then you have rules that stem from it. So muqtada is what is determined by the Shahada. What Allah determined for the one who takes the Shahada. What does it do? What does it mean in that person's life? He said, وَمَعَانِهَا, and the different meanings that go with the Shahadas. There are some meanings to the statement. وَشُرُوطِهَا, and the conditions. There are conditions to the Shahada. In order for the Shahada to be accepted or to be workable or of some benefit to you, there's things that goes along with that Shahada. They are the conditions. Bayan Fatha, and he talking about some of the benefits of the Shahada. So this is the second lesson, Shahadatain. The Shahada to Allah and Muhammad. The statement itself. وَالْمُقْتَضَى, and what is fixed or determined from those 2 statements. What you gain from those 2 statements. وَمَعَانِهَا, and the different meanings that goes along with the Shahada to Allah and His Messenger. وَمَاذَا وَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ فِيكُمْ وَشُرُوطِهَا, and the conditions that go along with the Shahada to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the shahada to the messenger. So this is the second lesson. Duma ba'da dhalikum barakallahu fikum naam yani al-arkan khamsa. And the third lesson is the 5 pillars. The third lesson is the 5 pillars. So today we want to crack the subject matter of the shahadatain. The shahada to Allah and the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Subhanallah al-Azim. Somebody's phone is just not very working. I mean, someone may be trying all faith to mute, but someone's not muting. I don't know why this is so difficult. We're going to have like a class on muting or something. I don't know. Because someone is not muted after all of the notifications. Someone is still muting. I don't know what they're doing. You can hear if they lay something down. It's very sensitive, the phone line. Everything is heard. Now, everything is heard. And it's like when you have earbuds like me, you hear everything. Everything. So, Allahumma musta'an. Tayyib. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He mentioned in His noble book, Shahid Allahu annahu la ilaha illahu. Shahid Allah. Allah bears witness. La ilaha illahu. La ilaha. There's no God. Illahu. Except Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning and truth that should be worshipped. So this is one of the verses that Allah Himself shows the shahada in the Quran. Al-Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Allahu Tabaraka means you, the one that all the blessings is in your hand. Wa ta'ala, you are above everything in every way. Those are 2 descriptions of Allah Himself. Allahu Tabaraka, the one, all of the blessings is in your hands, Allah. You own all of the blessings. And you give them to whom you will. And wa ta'ala, the one who is most high above everything in every way. This Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is mentioned in this Quran, the Shahada. As we just heard the verse in the Surah Ali Imran, where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, Shahid Allahu annahu la ilaha illahu. Allah, He bears witness that there is no deity, no one should be worshipped besides Him. He Himself bears witness to that. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned the Bukhari and Muslim on the authority of Abu Hurairah. When we say on the authority of, that means this is the one that transmitted the statement from the Prophet. So Abu Hurairah, the companion of the Messenger, who was from the southern part of Yemen, he narrates that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Buni al-mada," he said, "Amirtu an nuqatil an-nas hatta yashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah." He said, "I've been commanded to fight." And here it should be clarified, what is fight here? Fight has many meanings. This word an uqatil. An uqatil could mean to push someone. An uqatil could mean to stop someone. An uqatil could mean to physically, violently defend yourself with physical force. An uqatil could mean to fight in a broil. An uqatil could mean to be on the battlefield, like where people have guns and they're shooting back and forth like military or gang style, or as we understand, to be fighting in a place where there's a war zone. All of these are the meanings that can be applied to the word an uqatil. And an uqatil means that I am going to fight. So like if you say, man, I was in a fight with one of the brothers. Someone say, subhanallah, you were? Say, yeah, I didn't hit him, but we were fighting with words. This is one of the meanings of uqatil. I was fighting. Person say, man, I was in a fight with my wife, subhanallah. Man, I got upset. Somebody said, wow, what did you do? Did you hit her? Did you smack her? No, I just said some dirty things to her. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned if a person fights with you, or no, the Prophet ﷺ, let me rephrase this because you cannot lie on the Prophet. You have to be accurate, or you have to say the Prophet says something to this effect. So the Prophet, he said, if a person bothers you while you're fasting, if a person comes to argue with you while you're fasting, he said, say to the person, Inni sa'imun, inni sa'imun, inni sa'imun. Say to that person, look, I don't want any problems, I'm fasting. Because part of fasting is that you're in a state of being away from conflict, arguing, transgressing, doing something sinful. So the Prophet said, if a person comes to you to bother you or to fight with you, and you're in Ramadan, say to him, Inni sa'imun, inni sa'imun, inni, verily I am. Sa'imun means fasting. So the Prophet said, say to that person, verily I'm fasting. And he said it 3 times. And that same narration, he mentioned the word qatil. Qatilu. If a person comes to bother you here, if a person comes to argue with you, it didn't mean if a person came to fight with you, with weapons. It meant physically. The person came to argue or to bother you. So the word qatil, as the Prophet ﷺ here, he says, Amirtu an uqatil nas. Many of the people take and translate this to mean fighting, like forcing somebody, or being violent to somebody, or shedding the blood, like the people of terrorism and the people of the kuffar, non-Muslims who want to make everything barbaric and bloody as it relates to the Muslims. But here, the Prophet's statement, Amirtu an uqatil nas, it doesn't mean go out and fight with the people. Yani hatta yashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, until they accept, until they bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Here, this hadith means that you're going to keep conveying the message. And when they keep, those who are the opposition, try to stand in your way, you're going to keep going forward with preaching. You're not going to stop. If they try to fight with you, you're not going to sit down and say, okay, do whatever. You're going to fight back to defend yourself. And if they set out to kill you, then you have to defend your life, which means, if it means in defense someone is killed, then this is what the Prophet means. And until they say La ilaha illallah, there's no deity to be worshipped except Allah, this is the point. And we have to include, and Muhammad is the messenger, as the disbelievers have to bear witness to both of them at the time of becoming Muslim. Why is the Prophet saying this? Because with that statement and with that entry, then the fighting that they do against the Muslims because they hate the religion, it stops. It stops. Because this is the fight. Because they themselves are against the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do not have anything historically. You show that the Muslims went out and fought against any of the people, be it Jew, Christian, atheist, fire worshippers, anybody, because they opposed Islam or they didn't like Islam, nor did they because they didn't accept Islam. No, the Muslims only fought when the people wanted to bring the fight to them. The Muslims only fought when the people sought out to persecute them. The Muslims only fought in order that the plot against them will be folded, and the only way that this will stop is that people stop fighting against the deen of Allah and the believers. There's another fight that comes after that, and that's with the munafiqeen. The Muslim that's outwardly looking like a Muslim. He prays, he fasts, he does the acts of worship, but he himself is an enemy against Islam. He's infiltrating, and this is the likes of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Mada Barakallahu Fikum, Jamaat al-Jihad, the group that all they say is jihad, 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 and really What they mean is just kill, kill, kill. Most of that which they kill are Muslims, but they do kill the Jews and Christians with all of it, which all of it is against Islam. So here when the Prophet, he said, أمرت أن أقاتل الناس حتى يشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله. This should be understood properly, not that he's forcing religion upon the people. As Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala clearly said, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. That there is no compulsion. لا إكراه. إكراه means compulsion, forcing. Allah said لا إكراه. La means negation. So Allah said there is no such thing in the religion. Fit deen means in the religion. But here the Prophet is saying what seems to some people to be contradictory. أمرت أن أقاتل الناس حتى يشهدوا أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله. I've been commanded. Who's he been commanded by? It's been commanded by Allah to fight against the people until they bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And the origin is you don't fight. But when they start to drive the Prophet out of Mecca, he was commanded to leave because of his life. Then once he made it to Medina and started his life there with the people that welcomed him, called the Ansar, and the people of Medina, they're called Ansar from the word Nasara, to help. So Ansar, those who help. So they welcomed the Prophet, they helped him build his house, they helped him build his masjid first, then his house. They helped him and they gave allegiance to him to obey Allah and that which was good, to leave off certain bad things, and to aid the messenger in establishing the religion there in Medina. Those people, when the Prophet made it to them in Medina, he left Mecca, he was driven out of his house, meaning out of his city, out of his town. They didn't stop the opponents. Rather, they sought help from within inside, from the Jewish community, in order to sabotage and kill the Prophet, follow him to Medina by way of setting him up and killing him, although he left to go from Mecca to Al-Medina. And they wanted him gone, but it wasn't enough that he was gone. They want to stop the spread of his religion, that which Allah sent to him, Al-Islam. So anytime that takes place, then the norm changes. There's an exception to the rule in Islam for most things, especially when there's no other way, no other choice. So Allah has mentioned this to the Prophet, قَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يَقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah said, and fight in the name of Allah, فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, in the way of Allah, for those who fight with you. What is فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ? Fi sabilillah is not like the terrorists. You just kill and you say this is in the name of Allah. Fi sabilillah is not like the suicide bomber. He just goes in the marketplace, blows up people and himself. Fi sabilillah is not like the agents and the spies and the infiltrators and perpetrators. No. They kill and do stuff even up to this day, blowing up and massacring. No, this is not fi sabili. Fi sabili means way. Fi sabilillah, if you add Allah's name to fi sabili, it means the way that Allah has explained that things can be done with His rules and regulations. And that's why Allah said, وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا at the end of the verse. The ta'tadu means to go beyond the boundary set. As they say, extremism. This is the word in Arabic, one of them that means extremism. To go beyond what Allah has said is limits. If Allah said don't do this, but you incorporate that anyway, this is going beyond the limits. If Allah Azza wa Jal told you it's prohibited to do this, but you make it okay to do that, this is going beyond the limits. If there's peace in the land and security, and you go disrupt that peace, this is going beyond the limits. If the Prophet has commanded you to follow his way and something you abandon that, this is going beyond the limits. If you kill people because of what they believe, even if what they believe is contradictory to you. Although what they believe may be against what Allah and His Messenger has said. If you kill for those reasons, then you have did what Allah said, وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا, you have transgressed the limits. You went too far. And Allah said after that prohibition, after telling you not to go beyond the limits, Allah described how He feels about that. He said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah verily does not love those who go beyond the limits. So this is the meaning of fi sabilillah. This is the meaning of the exception to the rule, that you have to fight with words, with weapons, with money, physically, spiritually, against all types of evil. Even the evil within a person's own soul, he has to fight. He has to fight. As Allah said, in the nafsa amaratu bisu, that the inner part of the person, his soul, gravitates and likes that which is wrong by default, likes evil. But you have to fight against it. As the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, Mada al-akbar jihad al-nafs, from the greatest types of struggle, from the greatest types of warfare, from the greatest types of fight, is that the person fights against his own desires to do wrong. This is the greatest. As the shaitan is always at work trying to get you to succumb to that which is the desires of evil. So the point here is that Allah has mentioned the issue of the shahada in the Quran, this is the lesson that the Shaykh is bringing in his book, the second lesson, the shahada to Allah Azza wa Jal, the Maya Sublime. The Prophet mentioned in the hadith, Allah He mentioned, we said again, Shahadallahu annahu la ilaha illahu. Allah He bears witness that there is no other deity that should be praised, that should be prayed to, that should be asked absolutely, that should be depended on, that should be the one that you understand everything of good is in His hands. Everything that happens is decreed out of His wisdom, that this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no one worthy of worship except Him. And the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned the shahada in the hadith. We mentioned this in Bukhari and Muslim. It's been commanded to fight against the people, and we clarified what that meant until they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And that is the people that's fighting against Him. Those who didn't fight against Him, then the Prophet had not been commanded to fight against them. Except that he preaches to them, he invites them. But to fight against them, to refute them, yes, the Prophet has been commanded to refute all falsehood until the people accept Islam, because only by accepting Islam will you leave the falsehood that you believe in. You won't worship Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus is the Messiah, as a Muslim. You will not say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Ala Azza wa Jal Yalallah Maqlulah, that the hands of Allah is tied like the Jews when you accept Islam. So the Prophet will not have to refute you the way that he refutes the disbelievers. The way that he says, Lakum dinukum waliyadin, as Allah command him to say, to you be your way and to me be mine. This is a fight of propaganda and warfare with words. When the person becomes Muslim, that ceases. Except that he becomes from the second type of fighting, from the people of the munafiqeen. Those they are Muslim on the outside, but inside they disbelieve. So you see them fighting and plotting against Islam as a Muslim. And you have to fight against them as well, with words. And if they raise up arms against you, you fight against them. There's no such thing, you don't fight him because he's Muslim. La. If the Muslim transgress and he puts you in a bind, you have to defend yourself. You have to defend your deen. You have to defend your honor. Because if you don't, they will kill you. This is what they believe. If you're not with them, then your blood is lawful. But we say that no one's blood is lawful, except the one that Allah said you can defend yourself against. And everyone must be defended against. and that innocent people should not be hurt. People should not be struck and persecuted because of what they believe. No, Allah Azza wa Jal said, فَاللَّهُ يَحْكُمُ بَيْنَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah will judge them on the day of judgment. فِيمَا كَانُوا فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ. Between them and that which they differ in. That issue is to Allah. So as long as they don't harm you, then you can't harm them. And if they believe in a way that's wrong, then Allah knows that. Leave them. You call and you teach and you preach. And those who want to hear or have a longing for the truth, Allah will guide them to accept the truth. But you cannot kill and fight just for the sake of killing and fighting. You cannot kill and fight because people are at odds or have a different belief than you. So the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned the shahada in that hadith. So this is the first evidence of the shahada to Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, from the shahada, the Shaykh he mentioned has muqtada. Muqtada means something is fixed, set in stone with this shahada. This is just not a mere statement you say and that's it. It carries a meaning, holds some weight. From the muqtada of La ilaha illallah is that La ma'buda bihaqqin illallah. There is no deity that should be worshipped except Allah. This is the meaning of La ilaha illallah. So if you have a Muslim, although he says La ilaha illallah and he worships something other than Allah, he goes to the grave of Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and he says, "Oh Hussein, forgive me for my sins. Please forgive me and my wife." Then although he says La ilaha illallah, he has violated that by making shirk, by praying to something other than Allah. If the person believes that it rains because of the North Star, because of the North Star, or because of this little dipper or big dipper, those things of the al-Falik wal-Hab wal-Nawa, of the astrology, is the reason that it rains, and the reason that good wind comes, and the reason that a person is joyful and has a good disposition because he's a Cancer, as they say. I'm born in July, from the 21st of July, or going back to June the 23rd to July 22nd. If you're a Cancer, then you're compassionate. And this has nothing to do with the issue of compassion. Al-Tabarak wa Ta'ala put compassion in everyone. Some more compassion than others. But you cannot believe in these issues giving credit to the stars and the different zodiacs for different things. Rather, you have to give the credit and the ability to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah decreed that and Allah made it happen. So even if a person says La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, there's no deity worthy of worship except Allah, but he believes like this, then he violates the muqtada. He violates the very thing that the shahada stands for. And this was one of the things the Shaykh he mentioned, the muqtada, what the shahada stands for. So you have the shahada, the statement. Then you have the muqtada, what it stands for. Then you have the pillar that it stands upon. The statement La ilaha illallah has a pillar himself, has something that holds it together. Without that thing, it's of no use. That pillar is ithbat wa nafi. Ithbat wa nafi. Ithbat, that you affirm that Allah is the only one worthy of worship. Wa nafi, nafi means to negate all of the other worship to anyone other than Allah. So this is the pillar of the shahada, that you affirm and you negate. You can say I believe in Allah, but when it comes to the false gods, and say, well, I don't get into that, brother. As long as I believe in Allah, I'm Muslim. No, you have to believe in Allah and negate the false gods. Likewise, you can't negate the false gods, but say, but I don't believe in Allah, but I don't believe in these other false gods and deities. No, you have to do both. You have to affirm and negate. And that's the one pillar of the shahada, to affirm and negate, affirm Allah Azza wa Jal is the only one to be worshipped, no one to be obeyed, absolute, no one to be prayed to, prostrate to, bowed to, asked, dependent on totally, except Allah. And that all of the false deities are rejected in every way. These are the three things we covered today from the Shahada. That is the statement, La ilaha illallah. There's no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mighty, the sublime. The Muqtada means that none should be worshipped other than Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, absolute. No one should be obeyed. No one should be obeyed absolutely except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the Muqtada and the pillar, the one pillar of the Shahada, to affirm Allah's oneness in all of those categories and ways, and to negate all of the false deities. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. This will conclude today's lesson for the second chapter of the Shaykh's book, Shaykh bin Baz Durusul Muhimma L'Ammat Nas, the most important lessons for the masses of the Muslims. This is the conclusion of the class today. Ask Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to accept from me any mistakes I made, not hold me accountable, and definitely the praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any questions, the floor is open. Jazakumullahu khairan. After your question, if you can please mute your phone, as others may want to ask questions. Jazakumullahu khairan. People should be rushing to take the mute button off now, and subhanallah. Any questions? The next class on Wednesday we will, barakallahu fikum, continue with our lessons from Umdat al-Ahkam. We have just finished Kitab al-Tahara, the book of purification. We're now in the chapter of Salat. After we finish the Salat from Umdat al-Ahkam, then we will do Sifat al-Salat al-Nabi, Talkhis Sifat al-Salat al-Nabi by Imam al-Albani, the summarized version of the description of the Prophet's prayer by Imam al-Albani, after we finish the descriptions of the chapter of Salah and Umdat al-Ahkam. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا هو أستغفره ونتوب إليه. وبارك الله فيكم أجمعين. God bless you all.
Voice over Google Newsstand. Islamic audio books. Voiceover off.